Hey boys and girls, I hope you had a great spring break. I'm going to be reading a story for you today because this week we're going to be learning about story structure. And story structure means you think about what all happened in the story. You think about who the characters are, what the setting is, what the problem and the solution are going to be. And that's also what you're doing in writing this week as you start coming up with your writing ideas for your story. So let's look at the story. Duck and Goose. I also have a small audience of former first graders here who are going to be helping answer some questions at the end. Duck and Goose, written and illustrated by Tad Hills. Duck and Goose. "Oh my, what is this?" Duck quacked. "That is a silly question," Goose honked. "It is a big egg, of course." "Of course it is an egg, I know that," huffed Duck. "What I mean is, where did it come from?" Goose looked skyward. He looked to the river. He looked to the fields. He thought very hard. "Who are you?" he asked finally. "I," said Duck, puffing out his feathered chest, "am the one whose egg this is. I saw it first." Goose quickly raised one web foot. "It's mine. I touched it first." "Hey, you should never put your dirty foot on an egg," Duck scolded. "Don't you know anything about caring for eggs?" "Yes, I do," Goose cried out. "Stop yelling," Duck yelled, then whispered forcefully, "Don't you know that you and your screaming are very likely disturbing the baby bird who is trying to take a snooze inside of this egg?" Goose wished that Duck wasn't right. He lowered his head and whispered softly, "I'm very sorry. Go back to sleep in there." "My, that's quite a beauty you have," called a bluebird from across the river. "Thank you, it's mine," quacked Duck. "Actually, it's mine," honked Goose. "Thank you." "So," asked Duck, "what do we do now?" "We should do something," suggested Goose. "Yes, you are right. Good thinking," agreed Duck. "Like what?" Duck and Goose each thought. "This egg is private property. Duck's egg. No geese allowed. No honking, $5 fine. If you are a duck, keep on walking. No ducks beyond this point. Quiet, please. Absolutely no quacking in this area." "Well, we must keep the egg warm until the fuzzy little occupant is ready to come out," said Goose. "Excellent idea," exclaimed Duck. He pushed past Goose. "Step aside and I shall do just that." But Goose was quick too. After a flurry of fussing, grunting and groaning, slipping and sliding, honking and quacking, Duck and Goose found themselves back to back. "Scoot over, I don't have any room," complained Duck. "You are much closer to me than I am to you." "Stop yelling in my ear, Goose." "Shh," Goose hushed, pointing at the round thing beneath them. Yes, we must remember. Quiet, quiet, quiet. We mustn't disturb the little one." And so they sat very still and very quiet, waiting. For a long time they waited. They listened to the crickets chirp and the frogs burp. "I am going to teach this baby bird to quack like a duck," Duck boasted. "Well, I'm going to teach it to honk like a goose," Goose honked back. "I'm going to teach this baby bird to waddle," Goose added. "So am I," Duck said. They heard the pitter-patter of the rain. I'm going to teach this baby bird to swim, Duck said. Me too, Goose said. To pass the time, they sniffed wildflowers in the warm sun and shared breadcrumbs while Goose taught Duck to honk. They watched the sun set in the sky, and Duck taught Goose to quack. They counted the stars in the night sky. Let's teach our baby to fly, said Goose. Good idea, said Duck. I'm sure our baby will be a fast learner, said Duck. If it takes after you and me, I'm sure you're right, agreed Goose. Together they waited until, did you feel that, Duck? Duck nodded. Yes, did you feel that, Goose? Goose nodded. It's time, Goose, it's time, Duck squawked. Quickly, Duck slid down and started running in circles around their egg. What should we do now? He hollered. I think we should remain calm, Goose yelled back. Excuse me, a little voice called out. Duck stopped. In all the exciting confusion, he had failed to notice the little blue bird kicking their egg. Can I play too? She asked. Play? This is no time for play, yelled Duck. This is no time for games, yelled Goose. And what's with the kicking? I was only trying to get your attention, said the little bird. Well, you got it, Duck huffed. False alarm, Goose. Back to work. Can't you see that we are very busy here? Goose explained to the baby bird. This is serious business. This is perhaps the most important moment of our entire lives. Oh my, I'm sorry, apologized the little blue bird. I had no idea. I just thought that maybe I could play with your ball. It really is a nice one, she added. And then she flew away. Goose gulped. Did she say ball? He whispered to Duck. You know, I did have my doubts, Duck finally said. It is a bit squishier than most eggs I've seen. Yes, and I must say I was somewhat suspicious of those big dots, Goose admitted. It may not be an egg, but it is lovely, said Duck. Oh, absolutely, Duck, Goose agreed. It is a keeper. As the crickets chirped, the frogs burped, and the grass swayed in the gentle breeze, Goose quacked and Duck honked, and the ball bounced, rolled, and sometimes even flew. All right, y'all were a very good audience. Now I want you to think about the story, and boys and girls at home, I want you to think about these questions. I'm going to pause so you can think about the answers, and maybe even talk to someone at home about what the answer is, and then I'm going to get someone here to tell me what the answer is so you'll know if you were right or not. All right, so let's think about the story structure of this book. I want you to think about the characters. There are lots of characters, but there are two main characters. So I want you to think and tell somebody at home who the two main characters of this book are. All right, who are the characters?
Duck and Goose.
Duck and Goose are the characters. Good. All right, let's think about the setting. The setting is where the story takes place. So here is the setting. This is where they are during the whole story. Where would you say the setting of our story? What would you say the setting of our story is, Grace?
I'd say it's near. I'd say it's like near a pond, maybe.
Yep, it's near a pond. It's outdoors. You could say it's in the woods. Sometimes the setting of story are at houses. It could be at a beach, in the mountains, but this is outdoors, near water, kind of in the woods or near a forest. It looks like it could be maybe a park too. All right, every story usually has a problem and a solution. So I want you to think about what the problem of this story could be. What was the big problem? Usually the problem takes place in the middle of the story. So I want you to think and talk with someone at home about what the problem was. All right, Mills, what was the problem?
Boy, they couldn't decide who gets the egg, and
Yes, so that was the problem. They were fighting, weren't they, over who the egg belonged to. And they were really not being very nice to one another. What was the solution at the end? Usually every story has a problem, and usually it ends with a happy ending with a solution. I want you to think about what the solution was to that problem. How did the story end? All right, Grace, what was the solution?
well, they were both gonna take care of whatever hatched out of it together, but then they figured out it was a ball.
That's right. They figured out it was a ball. It wasn't an egg, but through that, they learned how to share, didn't they? They learned how to work together, and that was the solution to the story. All right, very good. It was so good to get to read a story to you. It seems like it's been a long time. I hope that this week and next week we'll get to read some books that I've sent home to you together. And during all your stories this week, during all your writing, I want you to think about the story structure. The characters, the setting, the problem, and the solution. I hope you have a great day. I love and miss you, boys and girls. See you soon.